If it's a cash transaction, if you're paying... Only cash transaction.
So if a check is cut for $12,000, you don't have to report it?
No. Now, banks, when you do the money orders or cashier's checks, they will inquire. To me, the most private way is use a personal check. I even have an accountant, a CPA, who sends his customers to purchase gold and silver coins. He tells them to bank wire. And this is coming from an accountant that understands the process. So, but my books is the most safest and private way is a personal check. My second comment is, if they want to know about you, they're going to know about you. You know, so many people, they refuse to do things because they're afraid that they're going to be monitored and tracked and so forth. Folks, once you get your gold and silver coins, you're private, you're independent. And that's where your privacy comes into play. So get your gold and write a personal check. They want cash transactions because they want their money. Same way when they sell. When you sell, they want their money.
Well, tell them what the exception is to that in selling.
The exception is the $20 gold pieces. They do not generate a 1099. Now, I can't tell you that because I'm not allowed to tell you how you can avoid taxes. It's still supposed to be the honor system. You're still supposed to, take your winnings, take your earnings, take your profits, and go to your accountant and pay your taxes on it. But legally, on my end, I do not have to create a 1099 when you sell your $20 gold pieces.
So, when you buy Mint State graded MS-64, 63,
I write you a check and say thank you.
That's it. So remember that. It's one of the reasons I've always recommended them.
But I'm not
because,
saying...
Because, we've seen tremendous gains from $500 to $5,000 with no reporting.
Bob, people just don't... they don't even think of the percentages of taxes and so forth that they save, even when you're distributing your wealth from one generation to the next. I can't tell you to buy these coins to avoid paying taxes. I'll get thrown in jail. I'll be fined. But I can tell you that they do not generate 1099. It's the honor system. So figure it out.
Okay, last question for the Dog and Pony Show. Do you think that countries whose currencies have been decimated will turn to the dollar as a monetary unit? If so, what effect will that have in the uptrend of U.S. Treasuries or gold? Very complicated question. First of all, I don't see many countries going to the dollar. And the reason why is many that have dropped it. And the reason why is they lose their sovereignty. So I don't think you're going to see much of this. But if other countries did go to the dollar, which I doubt any will at this point in time, or even in the immediate future, it would tend to make treasuries perhaps stronger, but it would make gold stronger too. And so I think that's kind of a push there. Also, do you think the surge in U.S. Treasuries was unexpected by the Illuminists? And the answer is no, they did expect it, because they knew that in this unwinding or deleveraging process out of the carry trades in the yen and the Swiss franc, that they had to be settled in dollars, and some of them were in foreign currencies, and they needed dollars to be able to pay people who just recently last year cashed in $250 billion worth of their hedge fund investments. And incidentally, the estimate for this year is $200 billion. But I think a good deal of that's already been done. And some of it's being done right in this rally that you just watched over the last 2.5 or 3 weeks. And that question was from Joe, and thank you again, Joe. And he listens to the program faithfully because he likes to hear Melody's lyrical voice.
Hey, Bob, is there any way these countries can be forced into taking U.S. dollars when they don't want to?
Absolutely. I mean, the United States they go into countries and say, look, and I got this firsthand from the president of a country. He said, look, we'll cut off all communications, all your internet, all your air service, all your postal, all your banking, clearing, and connections, unless you do what we tell you to do. That's the way the American government works. It's like one vast Gestapo, and it's getting worse, not better.
This question is in from Fred. I've mentioned the ratio of 80% gold to 20% silver. Of the 80% gold, what is a good ratio between numismatic and bullion coins? My answer to that is 70% of the numismatic coins and 30% of the bullion. That way you're hedging yourself against the ups and downs of the $20 gold pieces. And, of course, if life happens and you have an emergency, you always have your gold bullion coins to sell. Next question in. Let's see. I'm not sure that was a question. Earlier you mentioned that the U.S. government is looking for gold in foreign bank accounts. What is it that they are looking for? Physical metal? And why? Do they want to confiscate? And if they want to confiscate, why do you think they will not confiscate here in the country? And then there's another question.
Well, I think it would be, first of all, they're looking for bullion. And I think that they would use it as part of a deal. And let's say that the holder of the account was identified by the Swiss government, and because they had an account with UBS. And, in fact, now many banks are telling American clients, move your account out of here. I don't know where you're going to send it, but get it out of here, because they're going to come looking. They're anticipating that. And I've heard of 2 banks doing that. They believe that some of the big hitters with hundreds of millions of dollars that have these accounts are sitting on a pile of gold. And what they want to do, I think, and this is only a guess, that they're going to say, well, Mr. Jones, you had an account, you didn't pay any taxes on it, and your gold is worth such and such. And we figure you made $100 million, and we want you to pay taxes and penalties on the proceeds of that. So we figure you owe us about $80 million. Now, you've got $80 million worth of gold sitting there in your account. Why don't we call it even and we'll take the gold? And that's what they're up to.
And the last part of his question is, where can he go for security and capital preservation?
Well, here in the United States, gold and silver coins and shares. Yep. There is no other place.
Uh-huh.
And I'll tell you right now, I just got a letter today from a man who did extensive research up until today on keeping assets outside the United States. And with the exception of a trust, and even you have to give up control of the trust to a protector, with the exception of that, you can't do anything anywhere. And even with the trust, it's reportable. So there is no legal way for you to do it anymore.
I guess that's why they call it a one world order, a new world order.
That's
one
right.
Government, one currency, one banking system.
And one Gestapo. And I'm telling you, Americans, you haven't seen anything yet.
This question is in. It came in on Tuesday, so we got lots of questions. We'll just hit them on Friday. Could it be that the hidden agenda for a new world reserve currency is to allow the new members access to credit for their citizens, thus replacing the U.S. consumer? The new participants of the world's reserve currency would now enjoy the benefits the U.S. has, allowing them to export inflation to the non-members. a race to print up credit and beggar thy other reserve members, make easy credit for their citizens and move this liability to other non-members, promote regional consumption, and the last fling for the ultimate crack-up boom. Just a thought.
Well, that is convoluted, and I would have to spend a half hour answering those questions. So let's take two of the first ones he asked.
Oh, shoot, I just closed it out.
We'll come back to it. We'll go to another question, and we'll go back to it.
All right. According to Fox News, an intelligence officer stated that the pirates, who, by the way, hijacked a U.S. ship, got the